Hey everybody. So, it's been a while since I made one of these. I'm not going to say that, there's more to come because obviously, yeah, I'm having difficulties getting back into the swing of it. Uh, Either way, though, I wanted to talk because, for, those of you who are familiar with me, you know that, I do a lot of gaming. I'm a video game player. It's kind of my, you know, it's how I pass my time. It's kind of my hobby. Um, so a game came out for beta recently. It was called Skull and Bones. And me and this game, we have a weird history. All right. And when I say me in this game, I mean pretty much anybody who has been waiting for this game for the last 10 years. Yes, 10 years. So, okay. Here's the story. The story is a really good game came out back in 2013 on the Xbox 360. All right. This game was called Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Highly recommend it. You know, if you like pirates, go play it. Even if you're not an Assassin's Creed guy, this game has very little Assassin's Creed stuff in it. And it's mostly just a good pirate game. Just a really good pirate game. I'm talking about Assassin's Creed Black Flag, not Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is made by the exact same people. Here's the funny part. So, Black Flag came out 2013. Fantastic game. Me and everybody else playing that game were having a blast. Okay? And then we heard a rumor that there was going to be a DLC coming that was going to add an online story. You'd make your own pirate, be the captain of your own ship. You know, the Assassin's Creed story with Edward Kenway was over. All right? This was going to be a new story where you play online, similar to the vein of like GTA Online, where they were just going to kind of let you make your person and set you loose on an open world. The open world that they had made for their single player game, which, I mean, sounds pretty awesome. Like, that is a really good idea. Too bad they didn't go through with that. What ended up happening is that's what we were promised. Okay, was the DLC, and then, well, we weren't promised the DLC, but that was the rumor, was the DLC. Then, after a few months, maybe 6 months to a year, we'd found out that they were actually working on a full-length game. Ubisoft had seen the popularity of this rumor and thought, Sacre bleu, we should make a standalone title then. I know that was a terrible French accent, but they're a French company. I had to try. So that's what they decided to do next. They decide, okay, no longer an Assassin's Creed DLC. This is now going to be a full game. Standalone title. All they had to do was take the Assassin stuff, the Assassin's Creed story, and the Assassin stuff, the whole Assassins versus Templar stuff, out of an existing game, give it a new map, give it a new story where you start off as your own pirate, get your own ship. They didn't have to do too awful much work. They already had a great game to work from, And the original concept was to be a DLC for this game. But they didn't. So, 10 years later, 10 years, this game is finally coming out, like, in 3 days from now. 10 years later. Oh, and not just 10 years, but also $125 million later. For a game that already existed, mind you. That's what's blowing everybody's mind. This game already existed, and it gets better because I played the beta. I played the beta. Unfortunately, I didn't get to reach all the stretch goals. I started the beta late, and then yesterday, the internet was down all day, so I missed the last day. I'm assuming yesterday was the last day. I can't get connected to the servers today. So, I didn't reach all the stretch goals, so there's a lot of unlockable stuff that you were able to unlock if you reach certain milestones playing the beta that I'm just not going to have access to now. And that sucks. That pisses me off. You know, that's because of a whole situation with a cat that likes sleeping on routers, and she burnt up one router, and then this router wasn't working yesterday, so we assumed that she must have burnt up this router too, and it was just, we finally got it working, but by the time we got it working, it was, it was already like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got kicked off the servers at about like 6-ish. So, you know, so I wasn't able to hit all the milestones. There's a lot of stuff I wasn't able to unlock, and that is going to affect whether or not I plan on playing this game again, because that is always going to kind of piss me off. That's always going to be on the back of my mind that through no fault of my own, I ended up getting screwed out of, some of these unlockable things. But anyway, I digress. Back to the actual main point. The point is, they spent 10 years and $125 million to make a worse game. And why am I calling this a worse game? Well, the naval stuff is fantastic. They kept all of the naval stuff from Skull and Bones. Not Skull and Bones, Black Flag. They kept all of that, and yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. Plays really well when you're piloting your ship. And that's where it ends. Everything off of the ship, they removed. You can walk around off of your ship in certain nodes, like going to certain towns, certain areas. You can get a cutscene and a loading screen that'll put you into like a town type area. But these are just kind of HUDs for meeting with people. You can't sword fight anymore. You can't shoot people with flintlock pistols. The flintlock pistols are gone. The sword fighting is gone. You can get belts that have weapons on them and stuff like that, but they're all cosmetic. Like, there's no actual firing your weapon. Assassin's Creed Black Flag came out on the Xbox 360. That's where I played it. I played it on the Xbox 360. So this is 2 console generations ago. And you could seamlessly transition from the helm of your ship at the wheel. Your guy would step back. You just hold down a button. Your guy would step back from the wheel. And now you could walk around on the ship freely. You could also jump off of your ship and swim into the ocean if you wanted to. Or you could pull your ship up close to an island, jump off of your ship, swim to that island. You could hunt animals on those islands. You could search for artifacts, solve puzzles, hunt for treasure on those islands, interact with NPCs, take on side quests on those islands. This was a full open game, seamless transition from piloting your ship to literally swimming in the ocean and climbing up on shore on these islands and land masses. Everywhere you went, you could physically go on and off your ship. And this game, there's none of that. It's all just the ship stuff. So, how, and this is what's baffling to me and everyone else, is how in the hell did it take 10 years and $125 million to remove all of the features that people loved about Black Flag? I mean, we're talking about, like, I would say 70% of the game is gone. And I'm not talking about the story stuff. I understand it's not an Assassin's Creed game. It shouldn't have, like, an Assassin's Creed story and all that other shit. But pirates who can't swashbuckle? Pirates who can't draw their sabers? They can't shoot people with flintlock pistols? They can't hunt for treasure? What? What kind of pirate game is this? Even like the crafting system in the game is ridiculous. They wanted to add a crafting system, so they set it up that you could, like, cut down trees and mine ore and stuff like that. Oh, but you can't though. You pull up next to it in your ship, and then you do a stupid little mini game to cut down the trees. You don't actually leave the ship. It just looks like your ship is eating the tree from the coast or something. It's the dumbest thing ever. And I mean, I wish I could go into more and more detail. I really do. There is so much wrong with this game, so much missing from the core game that we've been waiting for since 2013. That it's like the opposite of scope creep. For those of you who don't know anything about game development, never worked in game development or anything, there's this phenomenon called a scope creep. And it's where you start a project, and as you're working on the project, you keep adding stuff that was never part of the original vision. This is a horrible thing that can happen with games, because it means you're probably never going to finish your game if you can't get that under control, because you're always going to be thinking of something else to add. You're always going to play another game and be like, that's a cool feature, I should put that in my game. So scope creep is a terrible thing. You got to watch out for it. But this is the opposite of scope creep. Somehow they took an amazing idea, and over 10 years, at the cost of $125 million. I know I keep repeating that, but come on. That's worth repeating. This is ridiculous. Like, somebody needs fired, because either this game was horribly mismanaged or someone was embezzling money. Either way, yeah. This is like the opposite of scope creep. They just kept removing features and whittling this game down. And what we ended up with is just awful. I can't recommend buying it. You certainly shouldn't buy it for $70, because that's the price of it on console. $70. Because this game, that's less than half of the game that they put out back in 2013, 2 console generations ago on the Xbox 360, they feel is a $70 game. And the asshole at Ubisoft actually called it a quadruple A title. A quadruple A game. What an asshole. Like, come on, man. That's not even a thing. Either way, I gotta end this video because YouTube is a big baby and won't let you post videos if they're longer than like 12 minutes. I'm probably already pushing the limit. I might have to edit this video down just to be able to get it up on the actual site. So anyway, thanks for listening. You're you, I'm me. Keep it brutal.